Our listeners are as important as our guests. Join in on the conversation. 504-341-8255. The New Orleans Talk Network.
Talk Network. It's today's hottest topics with an added flair. You get ready because the conversation will be hot and better yet, mobile. Download the New Orleans Talk Network app available on Android, iPhone, iPad, and you can listen to us on the web at www.neworleanstalknetwork.com. Write down our talk line at 504-341-TALK. That's 504-341-8255. Interactive and worldwide. That's what we are. Join in on the real conversation and tell a friend about the New Orleans Talk Network. Now New Orleans has a choice. Download the New Orleans Talk Network app for your mobile device or listen at www.neworleanstalknetwork.com.
Hi, I'm Sheriff Joe Lopinto, and you are watching the New Orleans Talk Network.
What is New Orleans Talk Network? It's today's
Good morning. You are listening and watching Church Without Walls. We come your way every Monday morning, 11 to 12 Central Standard Time. I'm your host, Charles Stewart, along with Dr. Anthony Williams. You are the church, and you make the whole show for us every Monday morning. We come to you because we feel that all the walls that stand in your way, they should be torn down. Church Without Walls, I repeat every Monday that we are not a church because the people are the church. We have 4 walls we go to every Sunday. Many of us, some of us may go on a Saturday, whenever you go. But you go to the church house, not you are the church. So that's why everything that's standing in your way, it should be, we go beyond the wall and give you the information that you need. And that's why we're on the air every Monday morning to share with you what we learned in the church house on Sunday. We're hoping that you share with us what you learned through the week. And I want to say to our listening audience that we thank you for listening and watching. And for those that watching us in different states, we on Central Standard Time, but I have some friends that call me and they get confused because they are in Atlanta is an hour earlier than we are. So they are watching us at 12 o'clock. So I'm sure you're having a great lunch. God bless you. And we have in the house today at our studio guest is our great chef, an honorable, loving person who loved the community, and I know he loved his job because every time I see him, he got on that chef outfit. So we thankful to him that God have blessed him to be our leader in this parish. And I would like to say to our viewing audience, especially those in the state of Louisiana, you need to go register to vote. I think next month, you have until 16 of next month to register to vote. And don't come complaining. I get mad when people tell me about I wish I should have voted. So I don't want you to have no problem at all. Go register to vote. And for those, whatever state you may be watching or listening, you go register also because November 16 is going to be a very important day in the state of Louisiana. I don't know about other states, but go register to vote. We also want to do a shout out to those that may be sick. Many of y'all have illness in the family, and y'all always ask for prayer, and we certainly you are in our prayer. So again, we want to thank everyone for watching and listening. And again, our sheriff is with us today, and we're so proud of him. And Sheriff Lopinto, you're special to this parish, and many people love the job that you're doing. And we happy that you take time out of your busy schedule every other month to come give us an update on Jefferson Parish.
Happy to do it.
And we're so happy to have you. And Dr. Williams, you have an open statement that you, before we started talking to the sheriff today?
To ask the people to please call in to the number that Charles is going to give you in a few minutes. And what's your opinion? If you have a question for the sheriff this morning, I'm more than sure that he'll be willing and ready to answer your question. And what I like about the way he answers the questions is that he don't debate it. He just tell it to you like it is. So call in to the show.
It's a lot easier that way.
And that number is 563-999-1808. Again, 563-999-1808. Get in on this. Come and say, this is your opportunity to talk to the sheriff, to let him know if you think he's done a great job or a fine job. He can answer your question. If you tell him, Sheriff, you done a great job, I'm more than sure he would eat that up. And if you tell him he's not done such a good job, he'll tell you how he feel about that. He is a person, he's very open-minded. As Dr. Williams said, he tell it like it is. And so you can get in on this conversation and share that. I just a couple of opinion that people ask me your opinion on certain things, and it don't have nothing to do with your job in Jefferson Parish. Like one particular question people asked me about the situation in Dallas, Texas, where this cop went into the wrong apartment and killed this gentleman. How would you handle that?
And look, obviously I'm not privy to any conversations, any statements by any parties over there, right?
Right.
But, you know, the facts that have been played out through media, and sometimes those media accounts aren't always correct.
Right.
You know, as a person went to what they perceived to be their home. So whether they're a police officer or not a police officer, in this case it's a police officer that's armed with a weapon, but it could be a private citizen. Obviously a person sitting in their home is not a threat. Doesn't ever expect somebody to walk in, and that police officer could have easily been shot, being interpreted as being a burglar, somebody breaking into their house, right?
Right.
In this case, she comes home and believes that she's in her house and somebody is in her house, and ends up taking action and firing and killing an individual, which is obviously a tragic situation. And I think from the facts that I've learned, it probably would have played out the same way here. I mean, it's a negligent homicide.
Right.
You know, she was obviously in that apartment negligently. The determination facts was not something that was ill-intended. I mean, it's not like she was sitting there to go in and actually try to murder the person for no means or something like that. She believed that she was defending herself, but she was defending herself based off of negligent terms. And you know, I don't know the exact laws in Texas of how they're written, but it should be a negligent homicide here in state of Louisiana, and I think that's how they charged it in Texas. You know, just so it's from the information that I have, but obviously that's not something that's inside information. I mean, I'm taking it from news accounts, but I think it probably would have happened the same way here.
But I guess it would be, Chef. I guess the people want to know. I don't believe that they would have any kind of training, because I don't think you can train a person to go in the wrong apartment.
No.
Accidents just happen.
The accidents do happen. And I mean, unfortunately, they're always tragic when somebody loses their life, because you can't take that back. You know, I mean, think about it. We had an accident this weekend at the NOLA Motorsports. I mean, you know, a man from North Carolina lost his life in an automobile accident while he was racing. It's an accident. So obviously tragic. You know, we always try to find, you know, that balance between what the law is and not. I mean, don't get me wrong. If she would have walked into that apartment and would have been shot herself, I think the alternative was he would have been justified.
Right.
He would have been justified by shooting a police officer who may have thought that she was going into a house, you know, her own apartment. But you've got to, you've got to look at each circumstance a little bit different and try to figure out, what the intent is, behind it and whether a crime had actually occurred.
And then you got to get the fact that the news media doesn't always portray the facts.
Well, a lot of times the news media doesn't know the facts. We deal with that a lot on the sheriff's office. We may have information on a suspect immediately, but we're not going to share that with the news media because the truth of it is we want to be able to locate that suspect without them knowing that they're a suspect yet. We want to be able to go, find that person and maybe do a search warrant on their vehicle to see if we can locate a weapon that may have been used. If they know that they're a suspect and it's out there and it's being massively publicized, they go get rid of that weapon. They get rid of those things. So, law enforcement has that give and take relationship with media.
But I can share with you and Dr. William that I done made a mistake. I know one day I was kind of rush home. I needed to go inside and take a shower and put on a suit to go to a very important meeting. And man, I ran home. Man, I got out of my car and ran. And I put the key in the door. It went open, and I'm saying, Lord, they done changed the lock on me. What done happened? And come to find out, now scratching my head, I was at the wrong building. Right. But the building looked the same. And when I realized, I said, wait a minute, I was at the wrong building. So accident does happen. And another thing, before we start talking about Jefferson Parish Sheriff, they said, find out how the sheriff feel about some of the decisions that the president making. I told him, I said, I don't know how the sheriff think. I said, but I can tell you, most likely, knowing him, he may think that, well, now I think that President Trump, he makes some decision I like and he do something I hate. He's a strange individual, but they want to know how you feel.
I'm the same as you, no matter what president's there. The reality is, some we're going to like, some we're not going to like. Right. Some we're going to agree with some things, some we're going to not agree with others. Right? The truth of it is I'm not very political. Okay. As this is a political position, being from the sheriff, I'm not. I don't watch the nightly news. If it's important enough for me, they're going to call me on a cell phone, and I deal with Jefferson Parish News. That's what I deal with. I don't tweet, so I don't see his Twitter account and don't care what his Twitter account is because the truth of it is I've got a large enough job here in the sheriff's office that I got to worry about. I've got 2 young kids at home that I've got to spend as much time. If I've got to worry about what the president of the United States is doing, guess what? There's a problem, right? So when it really comes to the president, I am not as political as people would believe. I'm not necessarily the person in the know. I worry about what I've got to deal with the sheriff's office, and it's a big enough job for me. So
and that's understandable because if you're not taking care of what you're supposed to take care of and worrying about what's going on with somebody else, you're going to be focused upon that, and that's going to cause you to make slips and make some mistakes. Yep. So you got to stay focused upon what's happening in Louisiana right now. What's going on with the sheriff department? How can you communicate to the public? Those things are on your mind constantly. And if you've got those things on your mind, you really don't have an opportunity to be worrying about the tweets and all of this other stuff that's going on with the president and stuff.
But anyway, Sheriff, Jefferson Parish, the state that at least the parish that we all love and live in, you've been sheriff now, I think you said come the first next month,
no,
1 year?
First of this past month.
First of past month, you've been sheriff for 1 year. And we like for you to, since you've been sheriff, to give us an update up on a thing that I know when you took over sheriff, it's some thing that you may have agreed with and some of them you disagree with. And I know you had to change you integrated your own policy and how you wanted to move Jefferson Parish forward. We want to know some of the things that you did, some of the programs that you have started.
What we're looking at, I always have to look at long term. A ship doesn't steer on 90-degree turns. It takes sometimes to change because, let's face it, I still have to live within a budget. I don't have unlimited funds to make changes on a regular basis. When I'm changing personnel, it's, I look at different positions. I'll give you an example. We had a position open up in juvenile crime. Juvenile crime, it's been in place for many, many years, but now we have a lot more police on campus, which are handling a lot of the calls that juvenile would normally have handled. So instead of just replacing that position in juvenile crimes, I moved that position over to economic crimes because obviously economic crimes with credit card abuse and fraud and all those type of things has been a lot more of an undertaking that didn't exist 20 years ago. We've had to increase that goal. We've changed from a technology base from a pawn shop division to now all those things are put into our leads online type deal. So I've been able to eliminate our pawn shop division and put the focus into economic crimes to make sure that we are getting the bang for the buck of where we need it. But also changing big things. We just transformed community relations into a public affairs division to make sure that we are getting the right personnel out there to do what we do best. I mean, we have a lot of programs, whether it's a Barron Bears that we partner with that provides teddy bears to people that are, the kids that are dealing with domestic issues with their families and on tragic situations. We've made that into a national program where we are a supplier. In fact, we have a new mascot that we just got in there with Barron's Bears running around in a JPSO uniform. It looks absolutely great. But also our Band of Excellence, our young Marines, to make sure that we are, catering to the community that we need to, that people can be involved, that we understand what our role is here as the Sheriff's Office is to be service-oriented. And we do a good job of it, but we also don't necessarily take as much credit for it as that we should, to make sure that other people understand that the successes that we have on the Sheriff's Office and how we can expand on them. We've changed some things in our narcotics division. Narcotics is, let's face it, is a root of a lot of our crime, whether it's burglaries or robberies. So going out there and trying to expand on some of that to make sure that we are trying to, continue our low crime rates that we've continued to have. I mean, we are another 7% over last year, down from last year's numbers. That's phenomenal. These are the lowest numbers that we've had in Jefferson Parish in 40 years. But it comes down to the men and women that are out there solving the crimes, and more importantly, our crime lab that is processing that evidence very, very quickly for the detectives to be able to do what they do best.
Okay.
If you look at economical crime, we talk about economical crime. We're talking about individuals that have been that have gone to jail for a criminal offense. So what, if anything, can the Sheriff Department do as far as maybe probation is concerned in getting that person acclimated to coming back into society and finding a good job or something? How can we work together to get those people back in society to become an active citizen? Well,
we're doing a lot better job of that. The Justice Reforms Act, let's face it, I mean, a lot of people will criticize some of the measures, and I wasn't happy with every measure that got passed, but I also understood we needed to make some make some changes. And what I really like about the success is, people criticize, well, you have all these extra people that are getting out of jail, the crime rate's going to go through the roof. And we've actually just seen the opposite. Crime rates continue to fall and continue to go down, which has been a good thing for us here in Jefferson Parish. We've had a meeting just last week with the Department of Corrections. We're going to house our inmates that are coming back into the parish. Instead of them being housed in North Louisiana in different facilities, they're actually going to start transitioning them to be housed in Plaquemines Parish, so they'll be closer to home, so we can transform them into different work-related groups. Going to different locations like Cafe Hope, give people opportunities. Because let's face it, I don't want to make the arrest. I'm hoping that we have 0 arrests next year. That's the case. I certainly don't like making arrests to go overcrowd somebody the next day. But we are the executive branch that has to enforce the laws of the legislative branch. And people commit crimes, but we're reactionary. I'm not going out there on 90% of the time. We're not making our own crimes. We're helping a victim. You know, a victim, you know, had a crime that occurred to them, and our job is to go out there and solve it. Now, I hope when the person comes back out of jail that they don't commit the next crime.
Okay.
You know, I mean, look, I'm paid on less stats. You know, I mean, I want a crime-free society, not a crime-ridden society. I mean, I know my job is to actually go out there and put the bad person in jail, but the truth of it is I'd rather the bad person not be there to begin with. Okay. And we understand that, you know, bad people do bad things sometimes, but think about it. Even if a person that gets arrested 10 times a year, that means there's 355 days that they did something good. You know, good people do bad things sometimes, and we understand that. And we gotta, you know, understand that as a department from our standpoint that we have to treat every criminal, you know, with empathy. You know, understand that their plight is a little bit different, and you know, we still have a job to do, but we respect every individual because hopefully the occasion that they have with the sheriff's office, it may be a bad day. But we hope that they don't have any more bad days, you know, whether it's 5 years from now, 5 days from now, or 10 years from now. It doesn't make a difference.
Sheriff got a text. Caller wanted to know, would you be interested in supporting a nonprofit organization that working on putting together a program prevent young kids from getting in trouble before, you know, stop them before they get started? Would you be interested in supporting
we do. I mean, we
nonprofit?
I mean, the reality of it is it kind of depends, right? I mean, look, I've got to always weigh, you know, there's all kind of nonprofits out there that want to help.
Right.
You know, so it really depends on what the case may be. We had the little football tournament, you know, flag football game out with the kids last month that we talked about. You know, we are always involved with certain things, and you know, I ask everybody to get in touch with us. It's whether we do it formally, it's whether I do it through my campaign. You know, I mean, what the input is and what type of event it is. Trust me, I'm involved with a whole lot of nonprofits. You know, that we deal with. Last week, you know, whether it was Woodmere's Community Picnic or the one at Johnny Jacob Playground, you know, I mean, I take the opportunity when I can to you know, to take my kids out and go run over there and go stop by and say hello. But you know, there's only so much time in the day. It really just depends on what the occasion is.
We have to take our first break. Got to pay some bills, but you are listening and watching Church Without Walls. Dr. Anthony Williams and Charles Stewart in the studio today is our great Sheriff Joseph Lopinto. We'll be back if you'd like to talk to him. 563-999-1808.
Damn right.
As important as our guests, join in on the conversation. 504-341-8255, the New Orleans Talk Network.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Dr. Rhonda M. Lawson. And can you believe that it has been 1 year since Horizons with Meet the World Image Solutions hit your airwaves? We have interviewed authors, entrepreneurs, playwrights, musicians, and everyone in between, all to bring you the best in literary conversation. And we plan to do it again this year, but only better. So join us right here in the Literary Lounge each Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, right here on the New Orleans Talk Network. See you there.
We're back. Talk What You Know returns on Wednesday mornings at 8 a.m. We got a brand new co-host by the name of Bob B. And hey, that's me. Also, we got some new features. We're going to be giving away, have a weekly raffle of prizes. There are multiple ways for you to win, and there's a bevy of prizes. So we need you to come on back, join us on Wednesday mornings at 8 o'clock for Talk What You Know on the New Orleans Talk Network.
Now, Now New Orleans has a choice. Download the New Orleans Talk Network app for your mobile device or listen at www.neworleanstalknetwork.com. Now,
And then try to get them to trust you. Put somebody there.
We are back. You are listening and watching Church Without Walls. We have in the studio today is the great chef of Jefferson Parish. And we want the people across the nation to know that we have a great chef here in Jefferson Parish. I know a lot of y'all used to live in this state, and this is a chef here. So you come back home, and he's a young man. He's going to be here for a while. So we were talking earlier about some of the great programs that he have in Jefferson Parish. He was telling about how he attends certain events they have at our playground and gym, where he come out with his kids and meet with the people. Some of the program that's going on, Chef, right now that you support.
Well, I tell you, you talk about being a young man. We had our first responders softball tournament this past Saturday, and one of the teams actually invited me to play in it. And I used to play softball back in the day, so I said, sure, not a problem. Well, after 4 softball games out in the sun, I can barely walk today. So I'm not as young as you think I am anymore. I'm definitely getting a little bit older, you know. But
I'm using muscles you never used in a long time.
Well, yeah, and I'm not even sure those muscles exist anymore, you know. But we're all right, you know. We're still surviving today. We won a couple games and lost a couple games, so we're all right.
Okay.
But I mean, you know, just from the sheriff's office. I mean, look, don't get me wrong. There's programs that exist all over. You know, one of the sheriff's, I guess newer things that we have done really with kids, and you specialize. I mean, I have all kind of different things. One of them is the Band of Excellence. I mean, that's, you know, you're talking about anywhere between 70 and 100 kids a year that we supply the instruments, we supply the training, we supply their transportation and food 3 nights a week for them to come and get additional training in band, and you know they'll be part of their own band within their school. But then we pick them up in the afternoon to give them additional training. And not only do we provide our own Jefferson Parish scholarship for their participation, for being able to show up, we've had numerous members that have received scholarships across this nation at different colleges because of their expertise in bands, where the band directors, they actually come to our Band of Excellence to do tryouts. Instead of these members going across the country and trying to try out the different band directors, they come here because of our reputation. I mean, we had one gentleman last year received a $40,000 a year scholarship, to go off and play. Which is absolutely phenomenal, thinking of the training that we do here with the Sheriff's Office. Not everybody plays band. I mean, I get that.
Right.
And that's not but that's just something that we do in the Sheriff's Office, that we fill that void. And then our difference is what else can we do? We are like everybody else. I have a limited amount of resources, funds, and personnel. So we're asked to participate, in which we do. We participate in every single civic association meeting. We go out whether there's 3 people that attend or whether there's 100 people that attend. Truth of it is people back home need to take ownership of their community. Make sure that they get out there on the front porch. Make sure that they get out to their civic association meetings to have that communication, because we're there to provide it. We're there to be able to receive it. But we will never be the solve all your problems. Agency. We can't. We have 430,000 residents. And generally speaking, we're only called when somebody's having a bad day. Right. So our job is to be part of this community, but understand that it's the community. Just as this, we talked about it. We're the church without walls because the people are the church.
Right.
And that when we're part of this community, the people are part of this community. And we're lucky that we have a great population here that really cares about it, and I'm very happy that I'm able to lead the law enforcement realm of it, but it's because of the people that live here that make it great.
As you meet with many of the parishioners within the parish, what are your conversation with them? what do you expect of them to assist the police department in crime prevention within?
Well, I know that crime's going to continue to exist. But when you deal with violent crime, generally speaking, it's either going to be a relationship bound, that it's either going to be a domestic case, which is very, very hard to prevent by any means, or it's going to be continued fights between personnel and in a particular area that are feuding for whatever reason, most of the time drug related. Some of them come with warnings. We get this often that, we'll have a person that's shot that they absolutely know who shot them. And they'll say, no, I'm not cooperating, I'm not saying anything, because they'd rather handle it on the street. Well, you're not allowing us to do our job. Right. And when you know things, it's about making sure that you communicate with the sheriff's office, whether that's done behind closed doors through an anonymous phone call. But let us know who the troublemakers are, because the truth of it is 99% of the community is a good community. No matter where you live, you have people that don't care about wreaking havoc. But that's when someone loses a loved one. And again, I'd rather my murder rate there be down to 0. Now, luckily, we're at 18 murders right now for the year, which is still low compared to what we've had in previous years. But I'd rather that number be 0 because no mother wants to go bury their son. And I understand that, and I don't care who they are; they don't deserve to be shot. No matter what they've done in their life. But that being said, I'd rather get to them beforehand, so we're never to that point. And so it's communicating with us, understanding that we're out there and trying to do the right thing.
So basically, what you're trying to do is create a communication within not just the church, but the community. Well,
Look, the people that are going to church, to be honest with you, are not our problem children. And I've said that a long time. We could confiscate a bunch of stuff on the streets, right? We could confiscate a bunch of drugs. We confiscate a bunch of guns. You know what? Many of them don't have in common. The people that are carrying around the guns and the people who are carrying around the drugs aren't carrying around a Bible. And that's the fact of it. The pews are full on Sunday, and generally speaking, I wish they were fuller. I wish we had more people in the pews on Sunday, because that's not the people that we have problems with. And the more people that you can get to a Sunday Mass is a little bit better. Gives them a little hope, maybe gives them a little message to change their week around. I know what my sermon was in my church this weekend. It was about family and what we can do, whether it's just, it's having a sit-down dinner with your family, once a week if the time's 0. If you do it 2 times a week now, let's make it 3, and adding a little extra. But you got to get them in the pew first. So,
Sheriff, I guess on I don't want to say it's a personal question, but I guess I want to say it's a general question. As Sheriff of Jefferson Parish, a lot of people view you as your position is one of the most powerful positions in Jefferson Parish. Many people put you over parish president over everybody. He's saying that, Sheriff, I am personally dissatisfied with some of the leadership that I see that our elected officials, some of the things that they do, and I see it, and it's not just Jefferson Parish. It's everywhere. I think they're setting a bad role model for our kids. Sheriff, you notice the church house is being half full now. I mean, and the pastor can tell you now some of them done real well, but as a whole, the whole nation, the offering is down. The people not attending anymore, and I would think the people that that's leading this country, our young kids, these kids are very smart. You got kids 2 years old know how to operate a computer now, and so they watching. They're not watching what we're saying. They're watching what we do. We're saying one thing and doing something else. Now, I know you've been sheriff now in Jefferson Parish, I know for a little over a year. And I haven't seen nothing negative on you. And I guess I'm not with you every day, and you're not a perfect man, but I would think a real leader that, okay, I try to set good example. Now, Chef, I done did some things in my life I'm not pleased with everybody that see me doing, but I'm not in the spotlight, some of these guys. But what I'm asking you, Chef, here, in Jefferson Parish and throughout the state, do you think our leaders setting a good standard for our kids?
Overall, yes. That being said, it's easy to criticize because of social media aspect, because of the amount of people that you can actually reach on a regular basis. Think about it. We all hate Congress, but we like our congressmen. Whatever the case may be, because we feel closer to that particular person.
Chef, could you we take our last break?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. We're going to take our last break. You are watching and listening Church Without Walls. We'll be back.
And I want to encourage you to join Church Without Walls every Monday morning from 11 a.m. to 12 noon.
And we want to encourage you to promote God's plan and not man's plan.
Don't you dare miss it.
Hello, this is Dr. Glenda E. Williams.
This is Charles Stewart.
Dr. Anthony Williams.
Are you looking for a home to live stream your next event? Give us a call here at Bethesda Community Event Center, the only place on the Gulf Coast that can host and broadcast live your wedding reception, your baby shower, business seminar, and any other special event. Give us a call at 504-708-9454 for more details.
Oh, how the time flies. What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Dr. Rhonda M. Lawson. And can you believe that it has been 1 year since Horizons with Meet the World Image Solutions hit your airwaves? We have interviewed authors, entrepreneurs, playwrights, musicians, and everyone in between, all to bring you the best in literary conversation. And we plan to do it again this year, but only better. So join us right here in the Literary Lounge each Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, right here on the New Orleans Talk Network. See you there.
Now New Orleans has a choice. Download the New Orleans Talk Network app for your mobile device or listen at www.neworleanstalknetwork.com.
They don't give it all. We are back. You are listening to White Church Without Walls. The chef was making a comment, but we want to get a call and opportunity to get in. Go ahead on line one.
Hey, how you doing, Brother Dinkin and Dr. Williams? Thank y'all for hosting the show today with Sheriff Joseph Lopinto. How you doing, Sheriff?
Doing great.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for coming in today and answering questions.
Can you talk a little louder?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
you great.
Okay, great. Listen, I had a few questions for the sheriff. We'll take them one at a time, and I hang up and let you answer, Sheriff. And I also had a comment towards something I observed on Facebook the other day. My first question will be, what is the goals for the sheriff's department that the public may not know about for the next 6 months, so that the public can be aware of what the sheriff's office is doing to, for the community? So some of the goals, can you tell us some of the goals for the sheriff's department? Then my second question will be, I noticed there was a lot of panhandling in the area lately and a lot of loitering in the area. So I would like to know some of your comments about panhandling and if there's laws against that or not in the parish. And also, there's an establishment here in Marrero by the name of, it's a night bar by the name of 3J's. Just recently, the owner of 3J's posted some concerns dealing with the department and one of the officers that's patrolling the area, and I can forward that information to you. And I know it may not be fair for you to answer that question. I wanted to get some comments from you on it for the public's sake about that. If you haven't seen it, it's a video about officers harassing the owner of the establishment. And if you can't comment on it, we understand. And I really appreciate you for coming on the show today, Sheriff. And I'll hang up and listen.
Well, a few things. I mean, when you deal with priorities of the sheriff's office, they change because the sheriff's office is so big. My priorities is fully funding and not fully funding, but fully staffing my jail. People say, well, why is that such a big issue? Well, because I need to make sure that I'm not paying so much overtime, that I have the resources to be able to do other things that we need to do. Making sure I keep my crime stats low. Last month, we had a little bit of an uptick in burglaries and robberies. Not necessarily anything that was out of the realm when you compare us to last year's numbers or even last month's numbers. But I look at those closely to make sure that we're not having trends that are moving in an upward level. I want to look at each one. Do we have somebody that's out there committing a few of them that we can go out there and put a little bit more pressure on them and see if we can try to solve them? So the sheriff's office perspective, they change continuously. My day is filled with different problems that I got to solve every single day. It's what do we look like 10 years from now? I hope we look a little bit leaner. I hope we have less personnel. We're relying and edging our technology. How do we actually, use our report writing and tracking program from that we've established 30 years ago? Do we change it? Do we rewrite it for the future? Those things happen every single day on the sheriff's office. As for panhandling, panhandling was actually decided in a decision not too long ago that came out of Slidell. It was challenged in the federal court system, and it was ruled that it's an expression of a First Amendment right to be able to be out there on the street corners panhandling. We don't enforce it anymore from a law perspective. Now, it doesn't mean that people don't call the police and we don't go out there to see if there's any other laws that may be broken that we can deal with things. But right now, the current status of the laws that are existing, so the parish ordinance that exists, is probably in line with what was challenged in Slidell and ruled that it's an unconstitutional violation to put somebody in jail simply for panhandling out there in the street. So we're looking at that to see if we can make some changes that would make it constitutionally allowable for us to at least take some types of enforcement action. But right now, that's the current status of the law, and that happened about 2 years ago, so we've had to obviously change. Remember, we enforce the laws. We don't interpret them like the judicial branch, and we certainly don't make them like the legislative branch is. So sometimes we have to make changes once they're found to be unconstitutional that we can't necessarily take the enforcement action. And specifically with the allegations with the owner, 3J's, I am aware of it. In fact, I was made aware of it just in the last couple days. That has been spreading around Facebook for what I understand. I know the owner of that establishment has contacted our department, and we do have an investigation going on into it. I am not aware. I mean, this has just happened recently, so I'll let that investigation play out. And truth of the matter is that's what I have people that are looking into it. But I am aware of it. I have seen at least one of the messages, and I think some of that's being forwarded over to our department for us to take a look at.
Okay, Carl, are you still there? Oh no, he said he was hanging
up.
I'm assuming, Sheriff, you were direct to the point. He would be satisfied. Huh?
Yeah.
Okay, back to what we were talking about, the elected space.
Charles, I think that in reference to that question, that we have to realize that every individual is different. Mm-hmm. And every situation is different, and every case that comes up with the sheriff is going to be different, and he have to prioritize it.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's always, I mean, let's face it, as I said earlier, most of the time when you have an interaction with the sheriff's office, it's not on your best day. Mm-hmm. We've always got to look at it. I mean, I get people that everybody knows me now. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was the sheriff and thinks that they get out of jail free card. I'm like, no, that doesn't work that way. We've all got people in our families and friends that, I mean, I know people that go to jail all the time, whatever the case may be. I mean, that I get phone calls on, and look, we do our job. We go out there, and sometimes the interaction with sheriff's deputies are not always good. sometimes they think they got treated wrong. We got to look at what was the call that they were going on. Was it self-generated? Were they there because they got called? I mean, let's face it. A lot of the times, we're not going to look for the fight. The reality of it is somebody called us to go over and handle a situation. So the sheriff's office shows up, and I'm sure the person that's getting the police called on them is not happy about it that day.
Right.
I mean, I understand that, but and look, our sheriff's deputies aren't perfect. I know that, but they have a tough job to do to solve other people's problems. And sometimes they get it right, and sometimes they get it wrong, and sometimes I have to terminate officers when they get it wrong, and other times I got to retrain them to try to make sure that, look, they can do it better the next time. But it depends on the circumstances, and, complaints come into the sheriff's office all the time. I ask people, send them to me. Send me the complaint, whether it's my officer speeding, and you got a car number, guess what? I need to know about it because I don't want them speeding, But it doesn't mean that they're a horrible person because I guarantee you there's a whole bunch of other people out there that speed, But those are things that we utilize is to be able to retrain and hopefully get them to a better place.
Reprimand and discipline will always come into play with every situation.
Yep.
And I think that every dignitary has a position that he has to hold within that area. Nobody is the same. Everybody handles things differently. So the main thing is that are they handling it within the protocol of the job that they're performing? And as long as a person is working within that protocol, it's feasible. Now everybody's gonna make mistakes, and the ability to correct your mistakes when you make them, and expound that I did make a mistake, but I'm correcting it. Some people can't do that. Some people can. But the people that we have in control, in reference to what Charles is talking about, is that you've got people who lie to your face out there as a dignitary. And I have a problem with that when a person is saying something and you can look at them and see that they're lying or they're just telling you what you want to hear rather than saying what needs to be done. I have a problem with that.
Okay.
And normally those people don't last long.
No.
I mean, that's the reality.
Yeah.
They can fool some people some of the time to get where they are, but normally they don't last long.
Sheriff, how do you feel since you became sheriff? You feel comfortable that you're reaching community? Is the work in progress with you?
I do. I have
comfortable with it. With
I mean, I do, but it's hard for me to find a balance. I mean, the sheriff's office, and me as sheriff specifically, gets invited to a whole bunch of things. And I have problems telling people no, but I have to tell people no. I mean, let's face it. I've got, I'll have 4 and 5 different functions just every Saturday. And if I'm going out of town, well, that means I got to tell 4 and 5 people no on that particular day. I mean, if you look at my calendar on a nightly event, it's like, is the sheriff coming? And the answer is no. And I gave somebody an example of this. It is I went to an event, and I was there for about 45 minutes and walking around, and they were about to serve the food and do a little auction. And I said, I'm out of here. And the people I'm with, like, well, you didn't even eat yet. I'm going, this is an outing for y'all. It's an outing for y'all to get away from your kids and get away from your family and go have a fun night.
But
this is my normal Tuesday. I want to go home and eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and sit there.
With the family.
Right. And I said, so I appreciate it, but so I've got to find that balance because I'm always trying to get out in the community. I feel bad telling people no, but I've also got to be able to balance that family life and being able to do stuff with my kids and go to the birthday parties and do all of that type of stuff that has to happen. Being a parish-wide elected official over such a large parish, the amount of events is tremendous. Right. And it's being able to try to pick and choose those and which ones I can make and which ones I have to say no to.
Right. And it's hard. You got mandates just like you got certain things that you've got to do. So you've got to try to fit everything in to make it work for your advantage and for the community advantage, where people can see that you're at least trying to work with the situation that come up.
And somebody called me the other day, and I didn't answer immediately, and they sent me a text message back, and they said, you mad at me for some reason? And I had to laugh because I was in literally meetings all day long, and I'm like, No, I had 18 missed phone calls. You know, I mean, you were just one of 18. I just didn't get to them yet. You know.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the difference of just trying to get people to understand. Yes, I am personal. I like people to give me the call, let me know. But you got to understand, this is a big department that I want people to. I've got men and women that I have faith in that can do the job. Try to get through them to have them do it. If they don't solve it, then you let me know about it. And that's a different story.
I think that's important for you to speak to the public and have the public to understand that you do have certain people in certain positions that's capable of handling those situations when they come up, that they will ultimately get to you. But you have people that you have staffed to handle certain situations that come up, and as long as they're doing their job effectively, that takes some of the pressure off of you.
Without a doubt.
Right. Well, Sheriff, we have a few minutes left to go in the show, so in closing, would you like to address
I just look forward to being back here in a couple months. I'll do some housekeeping for you. Remember, if y'all liking what you hear, support the sponsors. Without the sponsors, we don't have the opportunity to come to you and talk. But more importantly, to get me back on the show every 2 months, happy to come in and give everybody an update of what's going on in Jefferson Parish. And, we get to live in this great community that we call home. I wouldn't have it any other way. But thank y'all for having me.
Hey, Chef, something I said you're thinking, I said, Sheriff pretty lucky because last time people was calling up, beating up on you. You ain't got no negative call. I know a couple of people I thought might would have called. I said, wow, the show kept on wiping the time. They ain't called, that mean everything good.
I'm never going to make everybody happy. I'm never going to have 100% support. The reality for me is what you see is what you get. So we enjoy life. We have a good time at it. The sheriff's office does its best job, but if we're going to take credit for the good that my officers and I do, then we also got to take responsibility for the bad, So we'll deal with it.
Yeah, Sheriff, I know one guy told me, wait till that sheriff be on down again. I'm going to tell him here. And I just say, oh, Lord, I hope he don't call us. He ain't called, so that means he good. But anyway, we so happy that God bless us another show, and you know that Church Without Walls love every one of y'all. Anything that we can do to help you in your walk in life, we want to do whatever we can to help you solve the problem. Now, we're not saying that we can solve it, but we'll try. Yes, if you got a problem, if it's a sheriff problem, like Reverend Williams say, if somebody at the sheriff office you can call, but if you can't get it solved, well, then you try to reach the sheriff. You can't get him, I think, I know somebody in his office can get a hold of him.
Yep, we can.
So we're just asking all y'all to continue to pray for our sheriff and his family, that God would keep him safely. And also, we pray for all of our listeners throughout this nation. We pray for our president and all our religious leaders, regardless whether they may be the clergy or political leader. We ask that thou will continue to keep them in prayer in every family. And all our show, we always leave by saying, there's no such thing as being half dead. If you're dead, you're dead. So we love y'all, and thank to the chef again for coming on. Y'all have a great week. Right.
Yo, Mob, kick it for me one time.
What is the world coming to? Seems like everyone is running from the truth.
341-8255, the New Orleans Talk Network.